go. I want to welcome everyone to the Rotary Club of Coronado. We always start with the inspirational invocation and pledge today, so we have past President Bill Sankey, and if everyone would please stand.
Thank you, President Luann, and welcome to all our guests here today. It's a big day. May those of us assembled here today, as well as those zooming in, enjoy the many offerings of Rotary. May we appreciate those who prepared and served our meal, and of course, Creator of the Universe, give particular guidance to our speech contest participants and judges today. We are all individuals, yet Rotary brings us together in a common bond. Help us recognize and appreciate how different each of us is, our talents, dreams, backgrounds, occupations. And with each of us, you broke the mold. And in the case of some of us gathered here today, like myself, Dan, Orr, and Led Lowline, it's a good thing that mold is broken. Yet we all know that Rotary brings us together in shared purpose, channeling those diverse talents and gifts to better our community, our nation, and our Rotary world. So just like Rotary service is like the Hotel California song that the Eagles sang, you can check in, but you can never leave. Rotary stays with you forever. And I don't know if you guys knew this, but Kenny Rogers was also a Rotarian. And when he wrote his song, The Gambler, he was channeling the four-way test. A little different one than ours, though. Number one, don't count your money sitting at the table. Number two, know when to hold them. Number three, know when to fold them. And finally, the most important one, know when to run. So let us, in the immortal words of the Beatles, come together right now in celebration of the Rotary spirit. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you,
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Bill. Okay, I'm Luann Miller. I'm the president of the Rotary Club of Coronado, and I am so glad today to welcome our members, our visiting Rotarians, our guests, and our students. For us, it's such an honor for our club to host, for the first time, the district final four-way test speech competition. So what I wanted to do is I would like to introduce our special guest today. If they please stand up, District Governor Chuck Pretto. Then we have District Governor-elect Don Phipps. District Governor-elect nominee Diane Crawford. And District Governor nominee designate Luis Carranza.
Thank you, President Luann. Good afternoon, Rotarians. And yes, the first thing I want to say is a quick comment to all of the contestants. When I was in law school in the first year doing moot court competitions, I was given the advice, just talk as if you're talking to friends and supporters, and don't worry about a mistake or what people are going to think of you. I just wanted to tell all of you today that you are amongst friends and supporters. Everyone here is proud of you for making it this far in the competition. The Rotarians, the people here today, we're rooting for you. So have fun and welcome. Go ahead. All right, I'm going to go over a few of the rules today for the contestants, just so everybody knows what they are. Each student has prepared a speech on a topic of their choice and applies the four-way test to that topic. Speeches must be between 5 and 7 minutes long, and penalty points will be subtracted for going over or under the time. Notes are not permitted, so that's a fantastic amount of preparation you have to do. So no notes are allowed. Props are not allowed. Speakers are judged on organization, content, presentation, overall effectiveness, and of course, application of the four-way test. First prize will be $1,000. Runner-up will be $750, And $500 will be presented to the 4 remaining district finalists. So they're all winners today. All right, so we will have an official timer here. The timer will be showing 5-minute, 6-minute, 6:30, and 7-minute marks for your assistance. The timer will also record the total elapsed time from the instant the speaker begins. This is a hybrid meeting, so I think tech is going to mute everybody on Zoom, or everybody on Zoom, please mute. All right, we have rules for the audience. This is really the only thing they wanted me to do today. So the first rule is you have to hold all applause until after all speakers have spoken, for timing, but also so as not to influence the judges. This holding your applause until everyone is done is known as the Mary Taylor rule, for those who know. All right, the next rules: no one in the audience should clang dishes or get up to fill their coffee, and no one may leave, unless you absolutely have to, or enter the room during a speech. This is known as the Dr. Natalie Bailey and Dr. Suzanne Pop rule. No conversation between members of the audience during a speech. This is known as the Wayne Strickland and Jerry Winter rule. Please turn off your cell phones. Even if you turn off your ringer, some cell phones have bypass calls that may ring, so we really want to give the contestants the best opportunity to show their speech to us. All right, I think that is all I have, and we will begin immediately with speaker A. And just so you know, we're not going to name again any of the speakers until after they're all done, while the judges are judging the scores. All right, so speaker A, please come up and welcome to Coronado.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Speaker A. Just before I begin, I'd like to give a quick thank you to Rotary for giving us this opportunity, and a big thank you also to everyone for coming. With that, if everyone's ready, time will begin on my next one. It's April 2017, and John Rudd is an inmate confined within the bleak walls of his suicide water cell. He suffers from extreme PTSD and schizophrenia, and the voices in his head are growing unbearably louder and louder, driving him to madness. In a desperate attempt to end his torment, he slams his head against the concrete wall, trying to snap his neck. But despite his obvious need for rehabilitation and mental health care, he is not going to get it. Instead, prison staff sedate him with a quick fix, an inhumane shortcut to solve the problem. Sorry. Instead, prison staff sedate him as a quick fix to end the problem, an inhumane shortcut to avoid the hassle of properly treating him. And before the day is even over, he has been removed from the cell, labeled unneeding of care, and left alone in the shadows of a broken system. But John Rudd is not alone. He is just one of the millions suffering from mental illnesses in the criminal justice system, but denied treatment. So today, we will use the Rotary 4-way test to examine the need for increased mental health care in our criminal justice system. We are first asked, is it the truth? To answer this question, let's take a look at just how well our criminal justice system achieves its primary goals: lowering crime rates and creating a safer society. One way to look at this is through recidivism, or the tendency for a convicted criminal to reoffend. Harvard University reports a jarring message. The US has the most alarming rate of recidivism in the world, and the numbers are startling. Within just 5 years, 76% of prisoners become repeat offenders, meaning 3 out of every 4 criminals will return to prison. Additionally, the Sentencing Project finds that over the past 40 years, incarceration rates have increased by over 500%. So what exactly is making our prison system so ineffective? The American Psychological Association points to America's Get Tough on Crime approach as the root cause of this problem, emphasizing punishment and neglecting proper mental health care. Indeed, the Federal Bureau of Prisons only classifies a mere 3% of inmates with mental illnesses as requiring routine care. That's 15 times less than the general population. How is that possible? The Bureau actually lowered the number of inmates designated for those high levels of care by 35% since 2018. But let me ask, if we are not treating these individuals, how can we expect them to reintegrate into society and not reoffend? How can we claim it is the truth that we are creating a safer society if we are not addressing the root causes of criminal behavior? It is these considerations that lead us to the second question. Is it fair to all concerned? Undoubtedly, the crime is the criminal's responsibility. But solely trying to punish criminals is like putting a Band-Aid over a broken bone and expecting it to heal. John Rudd was diagnosed when he was first imprisoned with extreme PTSD and schizophrenia. But even after 25 years in the criminal justice system of displaying suicidal and despondent behavior, he was relabeled unneeding of care. This neglect of inmates is not only unfair and unjust, but ultimately harms society as a whole, perpetuating a revolving door of crime and endangerment for all. Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? The answer here is clear. Prioritizing mental health care will ultimately lead to a better functioning society. NCBI affirms that inmates who receive the necessary care and treatment are more likely to successfully reintegrate into society and live productive and fulfilling lives, leading to reduced recidivism and crime rates. We also build better friendships, as inmates would have a second chance at life with friends, family, and future connections. So we not only improve the lives of those in the criminal justice system, but also the lives of everyone in our nation. Finally, we are asked, will it be beneficial to all concerned? The answer is a resounding yes. Let's be pragmatic. When inmates like John Rudd keep circulating through the system, it costs annually $33,000 per criminal. Contrastingly, rehabilitation only costs $5,000, which is a whopping 85% less. So, additionally, rehabilitation breaks the cycle, leading to fewer arrests, persecutions, and jail time, which lessens the burden all around. So instead of wasting your hard-earned taxpayers on a costly, ineffective, and inefficient system, we can instead redirect those funds to other humanitarian causes like disease prevention or basic education, where that money is needed more. Because the need for increased mental health care in our criminal justice system is not only a moral imperative, but a practical solution that gives us the power to change the fate of individuals such as John Rudd. By utilizing the Rotary four-way test, it is clear that placing a greater emphasis on rehabilitation is the truth, is fair to all concerned, will build goodwill and better friendships, and ultimately will be beneficial to all. Thus, let us choose humanity over punishment and put mental health care first. Because when we invest in rehabilitation, we are not just investing in the futures of those who need it most, but also the futures, well-being, and safety of us all. Thank you.
Please remember, President Vian gave me the power to find anyone who claps. Okay, while the judges are tallying their scores, I wanted to briefly, in between each speaker, I'll introduce one of our judges who's we are very grateful for helping us today. The first judge I'm going to introduce now is the Honorable Susan Marinin. Susan, just please give give us a hello. Thank you. She is a retired San Diego Superior Court judge. After retiring from a long career on the bench, she worked with the National Association of Drug Court Professionals, helping national and international jurisdictions establish drug courts as a restorative justice alternative to imprisonment. She currently serves as board president of the nonprofit R1 Community, which serves the medical and educational needs of the Maasai in northeastern Tanzania. Give the judges another moment to finish scoring the last contestant. Okay, let's have speaker B come up, please. Just one moment to give you the nod.
Of course.
So President Huynh told me to go really fast, so maybe I went a little too fast. I don't want the judges to be rushed. I want them to have time to score everybody. So I'm going to give you a fun fact while we're waiting for one moment. Over 60 students began the competition, sponsored by 11 clubs from Raleigh to Carlsbad. 23 advanced to the sub-regionals. These 6 district finalists representing 5 clubs have won or placed at contests at the school, club, sub-regional, quarterfinals, and regional semifinals levels to arrive here today. Each is a multiple winner already. Ready? Thank you, judges.
All right, so before I start, I just want to make sure everybody can hear me. All right, and also just thank you so much for allowing me to speak today. And my time can begin on my first word. I don't know why. Old Indian people just love to flex about the hardships that they face. Like when you're at any Indian event, it's always a full-on oppression Olympics. My uncle is like. So, to get to school, I had to walk 5 miles, run 5 miles, and then swim another 5 miles as well. But it's really difficult to believe Ramesh Babu uncle when his figure best resembles a yoga ball. However, unlike many of those at the annual Diwali party, my father is one who actually faced a number of hardships. Growing up in Coimbatore, a rural city in South India, the life that we witnessed for ourselves here in California was that of royalty for him. Ever since I was young, my father would tell me stories about how he would come home from his poorly underfunded school, but not know where he was going to sleep at night because it may be too dangerous at home. While PlayStations and TVs are our best friends, the stray dogs and cows roaming the streets were my father's closest companions. Growing up in South India, my father witnessed violence, with riots taking the lives of many of those in his village and those surrounding his. However, through all of these struggles and all of these roadblocks, one thing separated my father from the others around him. A deep fire burned within him to escape that life and make something of himself. Luckily, he succeeded, and that's why I stand before you today giving this speech. So today, amongst distinguished and accomplished individuals, I want to talk about the American dream, something that unites us all, and explain how hard work plays a vital role in the road to achieving it. Using the Rotary 4-way test, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? I want to talk about the American dream and explain how hard work is a critical part of it. So first, is it the truth? Is hard work truly essential to achieving the American dream? The answer is a resounding yes. A central tenet of the American dream is that if you work hard, the results will show. And my parents really took this pillar to heart. Some of you may relate to me, but ever since I was little, my parents set a strict grading scale for me. A is acceptable, B stands for beating, C stands for can't have dinner, D stands for don't come home, and F stands for Find a New Family. Some of you may think that this is extreme, but for me, being held to such a high standard gives me the motivation to work hard and persevere through all of my struggles in life today, so that tomorrow I can teach future generations about the values and the concepts of the American dream. All of our great heroes, Nelson Mandela, Mahatma Gandhi, Bill Gates, all had the values of hard work, perseverance, and dedication ingrained in them. And it's because of this fact that their beliefs ring true and stand as beacons of hope and success for those not only in this nation, but all across the planet. Returning to our question of is it the truth, our answer remains consistent. Yes, hard work truly is essential to achieving the American dream. But second, is it fair to all concerned? To realize the American dream, it's important that we all learn to recognize that the American dream is a dream for everyone. It's a human dream. Once you recognize this fact and work extremely hard, achieving the dream is possible for every single one of us. Take Serena Williams. Williams grew up in a one-bedroom household with 6 other family members, her parents struggling to put food on the table every single day. But through her hard work and through her perseverance through all of her struggles, it was that which allowed her to reach the stature at which she is today. The greatest female tennis player of all time. And arguably, the greatest tennis player of all time. When we have struggles put before us, it's our dedication and perseverance, our drive to breaking past all of our boundaries, which allows us to all succeed, no matter the position that we're placed into. The great and illustrious Nelson Mandela once said, "One must never give up being selfless. People will forget what you say, and people will forget what you do, but people will never forget the way that you make them feel." That is the American dream. But third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? It's important for all of us to understand that what's unique about us all here today is that we want this dream for more than just ourselves. We want it for everyone. We want it for the kid who doesn't go to college because she cannot afford it. For the worker who's wondering if his monthly wages will be able to pay off his heating bill. For the 47 million Americans living without health care. And for the millions more, the billions more across the globe, who worry if they'll be able to retire with the dignity that they have earned. We all recognize that the American dream is a possibility for all, but only when we work together and understand that the American dream is a human dream. Only then can we truly create benefits for everyone. Which leads us to our final question. Is it beneficial to all concerned? Achieving the American dream is a lot like the story of a mouse trapped in a pot of cream. A lot of mice give up and drown. But there's always the ones who can't afford to give up. The ones who keep working and kicking and fighting until the cream slowly turns into butter. And then they just get out. We all have challenges and boundaries placed in front of us. But when we work together towards a goal, only then can we collectively progress as a society. We all want a world full of love and connection, freedom without oppression. And today is our beginning. Us keeping together into the future is progress. Us working hard together is success. That is the definition of the American dream. Thank you.
Just gonna make sure that it's a little bit farther from their face, probably. Yeah. That was a little too close. Oh, sure. No, we're just blocking it when we're speaking.
Yeah, but when he's talking, when the speaker's talking, we just have the speaker up there with them.
You
can do that if you go to speaker.
Right, just go to speaker there.
next slide.
All right, so I'd like to introduce
So instead of
our
everybody
second
having just a
distinguished
speaker,
judge who is helping us today. We have Judy Bambase. Judy, if you want to say hi to everybody. She is a mostly retired attorney who spent 31 years as a judicial research attorney at the California Court of Appeals. A resident of Coronado since 1996, Judy has been an active member of the San Diego Downtown Breakfast Rotary Club for 15 years and has served as club president in 2015-2016. I'm not exactly sure what this next part of the bio means, but some of you must know. At our request, she hid under the bed on April 5th during her club's speech contest regional in order to remain fair to all concerned. All right, we will have Speaker C come up in a moment as soon as the judges are ready. Please take your time, please. We'll just take a moment. All right, I'll give you one fun fact. We've got a lot of really good ones. A recent Google search for Rotary four-way test produced over 4 million hits.
Perfect.
So it's not a small unknown contest.
Right.
Okay, I'd just like to make sure everyone can hear me. Can everyone hear me well? Okay, thank you. Imagine you have a best friend that you've grown up with. You and your friend have done everything together. Your friend's family may have a little bit more money than your family does, but it's never really made a difference in your guys' friendship. You do everything together, even signing up for the highest level classes that your high school has to offer. And these are your advanced placement courses. The day comes, you guys have put in a lot of effort, hard work, and studying, and it's time to sign up for your advanced placement exam. Your friend pulls out a crisp $100 bill, and you ask, "What's that for?" Your friend looks down, serious and a little embarrassed, and says, "This is the exam fee. You have to pay to take this test." You are shocked, and you walk away, because you can't sign up to take this test today or ever. High-achieving students are often encouraged to take advanced placement courses in high school. These courses are going to range from AP Physics to AP Spanish to AP European History. Students are encouraged to take these courses because they look great on college applications, but also because they are going to come with the possibility of getting college credit. However, college credit can only be given if the student takes and passes the advanced placement exam, which, unlike most high school tests, is not free. Each AP test is going to cost around $100, and these high-achieving students are often taking 4 or 5 advanced placement courses every single year. As you can see, the price of these tests is going to add up. The result of this is disturbing. Statistics show that low-income students are far less likely to take the advanced placement exam, simply because of that $100 price tag. This can adversely impact minorities, who are often among the low-income students. Perhaps denying this, some still believe that charging to take the advanced placement exam is the right thing to do. The first guiding principle of the Rotary 4-way test is going to ask us, is this the truth? Well, the Christian Science Monitor states that the College Board has found that for students deemed likely to pass an AP Mathematics exam, only 30% of African American and Hispanic students and 20% of American Indian students signed up to take the test, compared with 40% of white students and 60% of Asian and Pacific Islander students. Therefore, it's evident that the truth is that the cost of the AP exam not only adversely impacts low-income students, but that it is disproportionately impacting minority students. The second guiding principle of the Rotary 4-way test asks, is it fair to all concerned? No. Charging students to take an AP exam that they have put in so much hard work studying for is not fair to all concerned. Students from low-income families are not given the chance to excel by means of the AP test, while their more privileged peers are given that opportunity. AP tests are a great way to get ahead, save money on college courses, and generally get into colleges in the future. Some are going to argue that while $100 is a lot to pay for an AP test, college courses are far more expensive. But we have to think that if these students are having trouble paying for a $100 AP test, they're going to have far more trouble paying for those expensive college courses in the future. This is why these students should be given the opportunity to take the AP test of the AP course they are taking in order to possibly receive college credit and save money if they plan on going to college in the future. The third guiding principle of the Rotary 4-Way test asks, will it build goodwill and better friendships? I can tell you right now that goodwill is not built when a community sits by and allows students who are lucky enough to come from higher income families to have access to better opportunities than students from lower income families. How are these students going to feel when they are working just as hard as their peers but not being given access to the same opportunities? Giving access to AP tests for all students is going to level the playing field and give everyone a chance to show that their hard work is deserving of credit. In fact, even students not from low-income families are going to feel an unnecessary added pressure to do well on their AP tests because they feel like if they don't, their families have just wasted a large sum of money because they're taking 4 or 5 AP courses every year. The fourth and final guiding principle of the Rotary 4-Way test asks us, is it going to be beneficial to all concerned? There is a saying that goes, a rising tide raises all ships. The opposite of that is that a falling tide sinks all ships. When you have students in a community who are working just as hard as other students in the community, but not being given access to the same opportunities, you're gonna have a falling tide that hurts everyone involved. For example, how must a student feel to have to leave their childhood best friend behind simply because of their friend's family economic background? For a student to go on and pursue a fruitful career can change an entire family's trajectory. My mom was the first person in her family to be born in this country, and she continues to tell me each day about the difference having access to all sorts of opportunities when she set foot on a college campus made in her life and as a result in mine. Access to AP tests for all students, regardless of socioeconomic background, is going to have students not worrying about taking 1 or more AP tests and just taking the tests. To conclude, the Rotary 4-Way test is going to tell us that charging students to take an advanced placement exam that they have put in so much hard work and dedication is not the right thing to do because it hinders high-achieving students who do not have the means to pay for those tests. And as we've learned, many of these students are minority students. The district that I go to calls itself a learning community dedicated to personal growth and academic excellence. But how can it call itself that when not everyone is given the opportunity for personal growth and academic excellence? Districts need to remove the barrier to AP test taking by making AP tests free for all students, regardless of socioeconomic background or race. So, is it going to be fair to all concerned, be beneficial to all concerned, and build goodwill and better friendships if we remove the barriers to AP test taking? Yes. This is going to cause the tide to rise, and all of us will benefit from the successes in our communities. Thank you.
And thank you so much for paying attention. We've reached the halfway point, and we have 3 more wonderful speakers, so I really appreciate it. I look forward to hearing them, which we will call up Speaker D in a moment. But first, I wanted to introduce our third and final judge. Let's see. His bio is about as long as mine was, so I think we're done. No, actually, let me introduce Dan. Dan Ginsler, a certified financial planner and founder of the Ginsler Group, LLC, has been recognized by Forbes magazine as one of America's top financial planners. Dan joined Coronado Rotary in 1996. I was still in high school. No. Serving as club president 2006 to 2007 and district governor 2021-2022. During his year as district governor, the district teamed with the Gates Foundation to raise $1 million towards End Polio Now and sent a team of 125 volunteers to construct 7 new homes in Tecate, Mexico in a single day. We're allowed to clap during this part. Favorite Rotary projects over the years: Limbs of Freedom in Ensenada, Rotary Youth Exchange, and Mission Vale Care Center in South Africa. In his free time, Dan serves as a board chairman for Sharp Coronado Hospital, board member of Mission Vale USA, and regent of USD's Franciscan School of Theology, where my mother-in-law got a master's, actually. So thank you, Dan. I appreciate that. Okay. Give the judges another moment if Speaker D would like to come up. And wait just a moment until the judges give you a nod to start. Thank you.
Is my hearing going to be a problem?
Might be.
Oh. Are the judges ready? Can I just get confirmation that you all can hear me okay? Then just before I begin, I'd like to say thank you so much for the opportunity to compete today. It is such an honor to be able to stand here. And with that, time can begin on my announcement. Bonjour, je suis votre médecin et je vais vous aider à Huynh. Oh, I'm sorry, did you not catch that? Let me try again. Did you not catch that one either? Let me try one more time. Hi, I'm your doctor, and I'll be helping you today. That brief 15 seconds of misunderstanding you just experienced is far from uncommon in our healthcare system today. But it's not English speakers experiencing the misunderstanding, it's those with limited English proficiency. A survey of 4,586 hospitals by the American Hospital Association found only 56% offer linguistic and translation services, despite 97% of physicians seeing patients with limited English proficiency. When a patient who needs a translator sees a physician without one, the consequences can range widely, from extreme pain to medical malpractice to most severely and far too common, death. No one should be dying when access to language is on the tip of all of our tongues. So today, in my speech, we'll use the values of the Rotary four-way test to analyze the issues with interpreters in our healthcare system and analyze the practical benefits of some solutions to our language crisis in healthcare today. But firstly, is it the truth? The US Census found over the past 2 decades, the number of homes speaking language other than English increased 158%. Now, 25 million people tell the Census Bureau they speak English less than well. The number of interpreters isn't keeping up with the demand of the US population. For example, here in California, there are 783 certified interpreters, serving 1.7 million patients and needs. For this reason, many hospitals have switched over to digital translation services like Google Translate. But I feel particularly qualified to speak on this as I've been screwed over on my homework many times. These translators are not always accurate. Google Translate itself is, at best, 85% accurate. Thanks. The unfair truth is that there's not enough human interpreters to actually provide these life-saving services, and hospitals' solution of digital translators is risking lives by risking mistranslation and inaccurate diagnoses. The status quo is an unfortunate and unfair truth that then violates the second value of the Rotary four-way test. Is it fair to all concerned? No. Current legislation in place promotes language inequity. Title VI of the 1964 Civil Rights Act and Section 1557 of the Affordable Care Act dictates hospitals must provide these services and do so for the top 15 most spoken languages in the hospital's respective state. Yet ironically, the Americans with Disabilities Act, the holy grail of equal access legislation, provides a loophole that excuses hospitals from providing these services if it would result in undue burden. The reality is, large, wealthy hospitals with plenty of resources claim undue burden, so they don't have to provide these services, when in reality, it's the small ones who are suffering. According to the Office of Management and Budget, hospitals spend $98.6 million on translation services every single year. But unfortunately, according to the American Medical Association, for those small and rural hospitals, that cost most of the time exceeds the payment of these physicians. They truly are facing an undue burden. But the abuse of the law by larger hospitals is so unfair, not only to those with limited English proficiency who deserve those services, but to those small hospitals who really do need the undue burden clause. But solutions do exist. NPR reports that 13 states and the District of Columbia directly reimburse providers for these costs using Medicaid and the Children's Health Insurance Program. To examine the benefits of expanding this program to all 50 states and territories, we can use the third question of the Rotary four-way test. Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And the answer is yes. Because in the status quo, people cannot communicate. Those with limited English proficiency can't even talk to their doctors, must let go to have a kind of rapport or goodwill with them. And so instead, if we expand this program to all 50 states and territories, the necessary costs are covered, there's no need for the undue burden clause, and everyone can begin to build goodwill, just like my ASL teacher, who has previously not been able to communicate with their own doctor, but under this program, will be able to. But there's not just goodwill and better friendships built. Instead, we also see that there are many practical benefits, which can be examined with the last question of the Rotary four-way test. Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And the answer is an absolute and definite yes. Without these services, according to the Agency for Healthcare Research and Quality, nearly 9% of Americans, 29.9 million people, would risk adverse health effects. Adverse health effects which require more care and more costs, making it no surprise that NPR reports that these services save hospitals money, $161,404 each month to be exact, by avoiding 119 unnecessary hospital readmissions. For patients, direct reimbursement can be the difference between a simple one-time treatment and a potential risk of their own life. For doctors, this makes sure their paychecks aren't redirected towards these translation costs. Overall, direct reimbursement saves time, money, and lives. Not only does direct reimbursement champion the values of the Rotary four-way test, but it ensures that each patient can understand the very first time. Hi, I'm your doctor, and I'll be helping you today. Thank you.
I just want to say thank you again to Past President Rob Taylor for doing this program and setting it up with such a great schedule. It makes it very easy for me to MC it. Even though we are going pretty quickly, so I was hoping, I know you all know I don't like public speaking, so is it okay if I do about a 15-minute who am I right now? All right, so while the judges are finishing up, I'm going to give you a couple more fun facts, and then we will be bringing up Speaker E. Okay, Rotarian Herbert Taylor invented the four-way test in 1932 to save the club aluminum products company from bankruptcy. It worked. Rotary International adopted the four-way test in 1943. Herbert Taylor served as president of Rotary International in 1954 to 55. In 1946, Lakewood, Ohio Rotary Club member Furman Diebel had the inspiration to start a speech contest, engaging students from the area and awarding scholarship money. The speech contest was picked up by the district and continues as the four-way test speech contest today. Also, the four-way speech test was introduced to Australia in 1988. Many districts in Canada and New Zealand also hold the four-way test speech contests. Okay, we can have our next speaker please come up. Wait a moment for the judges to give you a nod, and we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
Can everyone hear me?
Go ahead.
Can everyone hear me now? Speaking up about your feelings isn't easy. But even though communicating is tough, it is crucial we learn how to communicate and stay true to ourselves. While I'm able to stand here now and discuss this topic with you all, I wasn't always confident enough to share my views. I remember waiting anxiously with my best friend in the nurse's office as the nurse made a call to my dad. My best friend was the leader in our friendship. I wanted to please her so badly that I unwillingly trailed behind all her small acts of defiance in elementary school. This time, she told me that we should both fake being sick to get out of school early. And I listened because I didn't want her to think I was a loser. When the nurse told me that my dad was coming to pick me up, my whole world started spinning. It was too late for me to tell the truth, and my best friend was still watching. I was definitely a daddy's girl, and I never strayed away from my love of education and perfect attendance. So when my dad arrived, the disappointment on his face struck through my heart. I knew that he knew I wasn't sick. My best friend was proud her great plan had worked, and I couldn't bring myself to make her upset. So I pretended to be happy that we got away with our lie. But the car ride home made me feel even more guilty. Silence. My dad has always been patient with me, but this silence was something I had never experienced before. It was deafening. Do you actually have a stomach ache? My dad finally asked me after what felt like forever. My dad has always stressed that honesty is the best policy. What would he think if he found out that I listened to my friend instead of my heart? I didn't want to lie to him, but I didn't want to expose my best friend. So with a heavy heart, yes, again, I lied. Okay, he said. He went along with my lie, and I wasn't punished, scolded, lectured, nothing, because he knew that I knew he was disappointed in me. Outside of school, my dad was my best friend, and I could tell him everything. But because I wanted to fit in, I did something very uncharacteristic of me that I knew was wrong. I caused a rift in my relationship with my dad, and I betrayed myself. If anyone here struggles with communicating your thoughts, just like the first grader me, I have some tips for you. But before I get to that, you may be wondering, why? How does this affect me? Well, let's apply it to the principles of the Rotary four-way test. First, is it the truth? Yes. All of us here have experienced a moment where we hesitated to express how we truly felt. We may have lied, stayed silent, or followed the crowd to fit in. Second, is it fair to all concerned? Yes. When we speak up for ourselves, we are being raw, real, and unfiltered. We're speaking the truth and acting how we want, which everyone deserves to be able to do. Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Yes. It will lead to healthier relationships with others because of the honesty and boundaries you mutually share and establish. Fourth, is it beneficial to all concerned? Yes. Learning how to use your voice is an essential skill to have. And a study published at Tel Aviv University shows that people who act in accordance with their true values feel happier than those who don't. Now that we have put it to the Rotary 4-way test and understand why communicating is so important, how do you start communicating your feelings? In my case, I was able to sever my unhealthy friendship with my best friend by establishing my boundaries. It wasn't the dramatic fight that I was picturing in my head, and ending the friendship was a weight lifted off my shoulders. I didn't have any regret or guilt when I was my real self, and this realization gave me the courage to take my next big step, telling my dad the truth. I wasn't a bad student or a liar, and I wanted to make that clear. I decided the best time to tell him would be while walking home from a barbecue. With our bellies full of grease and meat, I told my dad I had something huge to tell him. Do you remember that day I had a stomachache at school? He gave me a funny smile as he nodded. Promise me you won't be mad? After I saw him nod one more time, I shifted my eyes to the concrete below and confessed. The truth is, I didn't actually have one. Once again, silence. I nervously looked up to see how he reacted to me coming clean. He had on a smile, laughed, and said, "Okay." And just like that, we were back to normal, and I never lied to him again. Remember that when we lock away our true feelings, we are denying ourselves. Our differences are nothing to be ashamed of, and you will feel so free once you embrace yourself. Take it from me. It is never too late to start voicing your thoughts, and starting the process is the hardest part. We want to meet the real you, so don't conform and be who you want to be. Thank you.
While the judges fill out their scorecard, and before we call up our final speaker, I wanted to share with you how the program will progress after the final speaker finishes. What will happen is, once the final speaker is done, we'll excuse the judges, the official timer, and they will retire with Rob Taylor and with Heidi. And by the way, Heidi, you didn't stand up when they thanked all the people for working on this wonderful presentation, so thank you for that. Thank you. We can clap. So they'll retire to a remote location to determine the placements and prepare the certificates and checks. While that is happening, we will have all of the contestants come up. They will at that time be able to introduce themselves, their guests, and talk about their schools and clubs. And we will use that time to ask them some other questions until the judges return to give us the final decisions on the awards today. So I look forward to that, and I've been asked to tell you to please hold your applause until the judges leave to the remote location, but then we can do massive applausing once the 6 speakers come up. Okay. Speaker F, please come up. Welcome. And as soon as the judges are ready, we look forward to hearing from you.
Could everybody just give me a thumbs up if they can hear me well? Perfect. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm very excited to speak, and my time will begin on my first word. I'm sure many of you have heard of the story of Icarus. If you haven't, he and his father Daedalus were imprisoned on the island of Crete and planned to escape using wings made of wax and feathers. Rather than heed his father's warnings about flying too close to the sun, Icarus continued to fly higher and higher until the heat from the sun melted his wings, leading to his death. The story of Icarus is one of overambition. Instead of slowing down and thinking through the process of escaping with his father, he was blinded by the chance to fly higher than anyone before. This tragic tale perfectly represents the trials and tribulations high school students face when applying to colleges. They are becoming Icaruses, reaching higher and higher in an attempt to beat out others for the best colleges, leading to their downfall. According to the U.S. News and World Report, between the 2019 to 2020 and 2021 to 2022 school year, college applications rose 21.3%. At the same time, college acceptance rates decreased by a comparable amount. This is making the college admissions process overly competitive, thus overworking students and destroying their high school experience. When asked to apply something to the four-way test, the stress of modern-day college admissions was the first thing that popped into my head. I've watched so many of my friends freak out over making one mistake, deteriorating their mental and physical health. There's something fundamentally wrong with the current system, which the four-way test highlights perfectly. To begin, is it the truth? In short, it should be, but it isn't. Students kill themselves in copious extracurriculars and AP classes with no regard to their own interests. I recently polled students at my school on 2 questions. Do you enjoy every school-related activity that you're involved in right now? And are you only choosing to do at least one of these activities in order to get into college? Just 40% said they enjoy everything they're involved in right now. And a whopping 80% said they're only choosing to do at least one of these activities for the chance to get into a top college. Extracurriculars and electives should be a chance to expand on your interests in certain fields, not a source of stress. Unfortunately, more students are feeling the pressure to be that perfect, well-rounded applicant and are thus joining programs they have no connection with, and in part lying about who they truly are. Many students even hire college counselors to help them through this fact, hiding behind a tactically crafted facade to fight their way into a top school, instead of showing their true selves. Next, is it fair to everyone? No. Although college admissions are inherently biased, they can never be totally fair. However, today's recent competition has caused them to become incredibly skewed. As mentioned earlier, the U.S. News and World Report found that the number of applications per student has been steeply increasing in recent years. As students apply to more colleges, competition increases with the pool of applicants, thus putting students who don't overwork themselves to a crazy extent or apply to a ton of schools at a disadvantage. As colleges want to keep their yield rates low, they also over-reject students who they simply feel may not be attending their institutions, despite not knowing their true intentions and exacerbating the problem. Colleges also set aside an average of 50% of their spots for early decision or early action, although this makes up just 5% of applicants. This leaves the other 95% fighting for half of the spots available, harming students who are forced to apply regular decision for reasons such as needing to compare financial aid packages. Thus, college admissions are incredibly unfair due to increased competition from both admissions and students. Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Similar to the first question, it should, but it doesn't. College should be a chance to expand on your interests with like-minded people, rather than a bragging right. At the same time, high school extracurriculars and electives should support your future plans and promote friendship, instead of being weaponized as the chance to get into a top school. To illustrate through a personal example, just a few weeks ago, I had one of my best friends come to me sobbing over getting a B in AP Calculus because she felt this meant she would never get into medical school and thus never amount to anything. This same girl, just a few weeks before, was calculating the exact grades she and others needed in order for her to surpass them and become valedictorian. The stress of the college admissions process was putting such a strain on her that not only was she unable to show empathy to others, she's unable to show empathy to herself. Students are isolating themselves due to this pressure. High school is supposed to be about camaraderie and having one last moment of childhood. Unfortunately, as students are focusing too much on creating the perfect image, they're instead pushing away their friends and growing up too fast. Finally, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Based on my answers to the previous 3 questions, no. Students overwork themselves to a crazy extent, all for the chance to get into a top school. When the time comes to apply to colleges, they get so caught up in a fear of not being good enough that they send in an insane amount of applications. No matter how incredible their extracurriculars or stats are, they feel they need a 30-school-wide safety net. This creates a cycle as colleges increase competitively with the number of applicants, and students overwork themselves more to keep up with this new competitiveness, and so on and so forth. This is not beneficial to anyone's mental or physical health and often destroys people's well-being. Watching my friends freak out over getting one question wrong on their SATs, or a B in one class because they feel it means they will never get into college has proved this to me. It breaks my heart to see people who were once so passionate about learning lose their love for it due to the stress of the college admissions process. Students are becoming fractured versions of themselves underneath the personas they perform for colleges. The story of Icarus is one of overambition, but so is the story of modern-day college admissions. Through the system's failure of the four-way test that I have outlined today, we can see the clear danger it poses to high school students. Simply by providing more college workshops or more mental health resources, we can avoid creating more modern-day Icaruses. Thank you.
We'll just give the judges a moment to finish scoring the final speaker and retire to judging. Okay, everybody, thank you so much. If we could have all of the speakers please come up. Let's give them a round of applause. I know I speak for everybody here in saying you're extremely impressive young adults. You made really amazing salient points, some of which really hit home with me as a father of a college student and 3 high school students. So really, really well done. Also, I know some of you were speaking while there was some strange hammering going on from someplace in the building, I don't know where, and you didn't let it throw you at all. So very, very impressive. All right, I'm going to ask you each a series of questions, but it'll be one question. You can each answer it, and then I'll come back and ask another question, okay? And take your time and relax again here. You're amongst friends. So I'd like you to introduce yourself, any guests that are here for you if you'd like, your sponsoring club, what school you go to, and what grade you're in. All right, so please begin.
Hi, my name is Chloe Norton. I'm a junior at Carlsbad High School. I'm here today with my mom, my dad, and my great-grandmother, as well as my Rotary sponsor, Roy Means. I'm here on behalf of the Carlsbad Evening Rotary.
My name is Danielle D. I also go to Carlsbad High School, and I'm a freshman. Here with me today, I have my mom and my dad, and the Rotary Club sponsoring me is Carlsbad High Noon, so thank you. And from there is Maureen and Mo, so thank you for coming.
Hello, I'm Varun Venkatesh. I also go to Carlson High School. I'm also a junior. I'm also sponsored by Mr. Meads and Evening Rotary, and I'm also here with my dad today.
Carlson. I'm a junior at Valley Center High School. I'm here with my parents, my grandparents, and then a few people from the Rotary Club.
Where are they?
They're right there in the back. And is there anything else I'm supposed to say? That's it.
Hi, my name is Huynh. I'm a sophomore at Hoover High School. I'm with San Diego Rotary Club 33, and I'm with my program coordinators, Jenny, Michael, and Director Beatrice, and as well as my coaches, Lisa and Jack.
Hi, I'm Haley LaRose. I'm a junior at Mount Carmel High School. I'm here on behalf of Rancho Bernardo Sunrise, and with me I have my mom Julie, my coach Jose, and my sponsor Scott Bramwell.
Okay, we'll go in reverse order for this next set of questions while we're waiting for the judges. I'd like to know anything you want to share with us about any long-range plans or college plans and or what you might hope to be doing in 5 to 10 years. Just share with us what you would like to share about your future dreams and aspirations. Thank you.
I would love to go into political science or women's studies. I'm planning on applying early decision to Scripps College in the fall, which is up in Claremont as a part of the Pomona Consortium. And as for what I'd like to do, I'd love to either be a professor or a teacher, or I'd love to go work in politics in DC.
Hi, my dream school is MIT, and I hope to go into computer science or mathematics. And in the future, my dream job right now is a financial quant analyst, and yeah.
So I definitely get asked this question a lot, and I will say I'm definitely undecided on what I'm trying to do. I'm hoping to figure that out through trying different classes in different fields of study in my freshman and sophomore year in college. I've looked at colleges like Vanderbilt, Wake Forest, TCU, and those are some of my favorites.
Yeah, so I want to go to an Ivy League preferably, but MIT and Stanford's also like top tier. So yeah, high expectations, right? I think in 5 to 10 years, I want to be a billionaire. I own a big yacht, multi-million-dollar mansions and stuff like that. All of that. But I also want to study math, like applied math, something like stats, engineering, stuff that goes into that.
Tell some people what SAS is.
Stats. What is statistics. So, numbers. I like numbers.
I don't yet know where I want to study, but I can also say that I like numbers, and I might want to major in something between economics, psychology, and data science.
I hope to study political science in undergraduate at my dream school of Stanford University, to go to study constitutional law in law school, to hopefully become a member of the United States Supreme Court.
I didn't hear anybody say they wanted to be a district governor. Really well done. I'm going to ask you another question, and you can talk about it, and you can also talk about anything else you'd like to talk about. Where did the inspiration for your topic that you spoke on today come from?
I touched on this a little bit in my speech, but I've in the past couple years, unfortunately they no longer teach at my school, but my American Sign Language teacher, who is fully deaf, was describing to us what it was like to go to the doctor. And it was something of confusion, and unfortunately when I was doing research for this topic, which I've done a lot into, there have been so many casualties in the deaf community simply because doctors and patients cannot understand one another. And so when I was talking to my American Sign Language teacher about this, I had no idea. I'm so privileged as just a native English speaker that I can go anywhere. And so I never thought about what it would be like to be deaf and go to the doctor, or to have limited English proficiency and go to the doctor. And so looking into this topic after my American Sign Language teacher told me about it, I realized just how big of an issue it was, and that inspired me to give a speech on it because it really hits so close to home for the people around me.
So for my topic, I know we talk about mental health a lot, and in teens and the general public, but it really never struck me that this was such a big issue in the criminal justice system until I read a news article about John Wood's story. And then I was like, oh my gosh, nobody ever talks about this, and it's such a big issue that goes widely unnoticed. So that was the inspiration for my speech.
The inspiration for my speech started when I started my education. When you know, my father set that grading scale for me. But yeah, no, I think oftentimes the American dream is really just limited to the idea of like immigrants and all of that, but I wanted to branch it all out and talk about how the American dream can be applied for all of us, how we can all access it. It's something that isn't just available for immigrants, but it's something that's available for everybody. And I think it's often forgotten that even though we have this privilege here living in America, a lot of people don't, and they have to work really hard to get here. So I just wanted to talk about it. I've really heard a lot about it from my dad ever since he came to this country, and so I thought it would really hit it home for me, and then also could teach you guys a little bit.
So I have a teacher, and she's my English teacher, and she was telling me about how they've been trying for several years to get our school to give free AP testing to students. And I was like, I had never really thought that that was such a big deal, because I come from a family where that's not really an issue for me. But I realized that this is something that can affect a lot of people. And I will say, I mentioned in my speech the added pressure of like the cost of these exams on even students not from low-income families. But we also have a few districts around our school district that have been giving free AP testing. So the Escondido School District has been doing that. And so I'm currently working with my AP US History teacher and my AP English teacher to get some funds allocated so that we can have either reduced AP testing at our school or free AP testing for some students. Because I don't find it fair for students to put so much time and effort into a class and then not get anything out of it when there really is no reason for that to be the way it is.
Growing up, I was always the leader in group projects. I was always the follower in my friendships. And once it started getting better, that's when COVID hit and everyone stayed at home for a year or two. And my communication skills worsened again, and I started following and catering to other people. But once I entered high school, I started speaking up for myself more and communicating how I really felt. And it was just a big moment in my life where I finally felt like me and finally free. And I just wanted to share that because I know there's many people, young and old, who struggle with expressing their true thoughts.
I come from a very academically motivated friend group, and I consider myself very academically motivated. So over the past few years, watching their own experiences in pushing themselves to the brink to apply for college, and even myself, I'm guilty of this. I have a meeting with my college counselor next week, just overworking myself to try to get into college because of being the youngest of 5 and being the only one who will go to college, or watching my friends have pressure from their parents. It really struck me as an issue that not a lot of people talk about.
All right, so now, as we wait for the judges to return, I will ask you an easier question. You can relax. What is your favorite movie, TV show, or music group, or all three? Go.
My favorite movie is a tie between Perks of Being a Wallflower and Legally Blonde. I really do think of myself as Elle Woods. My favorite TV show is New Girl, and my favorite music artist is either Taylor Swift or Harry Styles.
For my favorite movie, I would say one that I always love rewatching is The Princess Bride. I watched it since I was younger, and growing up, it never gets old. It's always so funny. And for my favorite music artist, I would say Keshi. I like him.
A lot of Rotarians would go to Keshi concerts.
I would say my favorite TV show that I've been watching with my mom and my sister since I was probably too young is Gilmore Girls. Speaking of academic, definitely we have Rory, who's definitely putting a lot of effort into her school and college applications. And we definitely, a few of us bonded over our love for Taylor Swift. I would say she's definitely my favorite music artist.
My favorite movie, I think it has to be Black Panther. Just such a good movie. TV show, easily Phineas and Ferb. Easily, it's not even close. Or Tom and Jerry. Actually, no. Tom and Jerry goes above Phineas and Ferb. Music, artists, it's tough. There's a lot of them. Right now, I would probably have to say Gracie Abrams, but that's right now.
I don't really watch a lot of movies or TV shows, so I don't really have an answer to that. But in terms of music, when I'm studying, I like to listen to Lo-fi.
Oh, yeah.
My favorite movie would have to be a tie between two very opposite movies, either Ocean's 8 or The Dead Poets Society. And then my favorite TV show, at least right now, would have to be Abbott Elementary, which my mom, who's a third grade teacher, got me into. And then my favorite artist would have to be either Taylor Swift or Hozier, which I never know if I'm pronouncing correctly.
All right, let's give them a big, huge extra round of applause, please. Why don't you go ahead and take 1 minute to relax, and we will call you up as soon as the judges return. Thank you so much. Great job.
I was thinking, yeah, that's right. When they, I think it was when they started walking a little bit away. Wayne said Tim John Duncan was the captain.
All right, let's have all the contestants please come back up, as well as District Governor Chuck Pretto. Any again, everybody, everyone here is a winner, as I was explaining at the start of the presentation. And the first announcements will be for the first 4 contestants that are considered to have tied for 3rd place in the competition. And it's in no particular order, okay, for the first ones. So first, we have Riley. Next, we have our speaker, Vian. Please come up. All right, we also have in 3rd place with the tie is Haley. And our final 3rd place winner is Danielle. So I'm sure the extraordinarily bright people in this room, which is everybody, has figured out that when I announce the 2nd place winner, you might be able to determine who the 1st place winner was. So I will announce them fairly closely together. The 2nd place winner today, and again, they all did an incredible job. I'm not sure how the judges figured out who to choose, but really well done. In 2nd place is Varun. And our 1st place winner today, and the winner of the larger check, is Chloe. Congratulations.
Okay, I want to congratulate, obviously, to all of the contestants. You guys did an amazing job. I want to thank, a special thank you to Rob Taylor, again, for taking care of all this. Wonderful job. I want to thank our judges. Thank you so much for doing that. And to our MC, John Duncan. So thank you, everyone, for coming today. I know you enjoyed it. Go out and have a wonderful Rotary week.
I was thinking, yeah, that's right. I think it was when they started walking a little bit away. When John Duncan was kept
All right, let's have all the contestants please come back up, as well as District Governor Chuck Pretto. And again, everybody, everyone here is a winner, as I was explaining at the start of the presentation. And the first announcements will be for the first 4 contestants that are considered to have tied for 3rd place in the competition. And it's in no particular order, okay, for the first ones. So first, we have Riley. Next, we have our speaker, Vian. Please come up. All right, we also have in 3rd place with the tie is Haley. And our final 3rd place winner is Danielle. So I'm sure the extraordinarily bright people in this room, which is everybody, has figured out that when I announce the second place winner, you might be able to determine who the first place winner was. So I will announce them fairly closely together. The second place winner today, and again, they all did an incredible job. I'm not sure how the judges figured out who to choose, but really well done. In second place is Varun. And our first place winner today, and the winner of the larger check, is Chloe. Congratulations.
Okay, I want to congratulate, obviously, to all of the contestants. You guys did an amazing job. I want to thank, a special thank you to Rob Taylor, again, for taking care of all this. Wonderful job. I want to thank our judges. Thank you so much for doing that. And to our MC, John Duncan. So thank you everyone for coming today. I know you enjoyed it. Go out and have a wonderful Rotary week.